This is it, round 24. For one of us, it's the final preview of the year. And for the other, I could argue the season is only just getting started. I'll let you guys guess who is who. I'm very lucky to be joined by my very good friend Dill from the Proper Crows podcast. Dill, welcome to Kanga TV. Thanks for joining me.
No worries, Marn. Thanks for having me. We've been talking about this for a little bit, so it's finally good to be on here. Very exciting.
I'm pretty sure when the idea of the pod first came to be in like late last year, I was like, cool, you let me know when you're coming on the channel.
Mm.
Like, we're going to sort this out. And it's taken us all season. And we finally got here in the final round. We are going to talk all things Crows and North and round 24. But before we do, I just want to address the Isaac Rankin situation. So it's Tuesday night at the time of recording. We still don't have an outcome. We don't know if he's going to be playing or not. We just thought it would be best to leave it at that because we just don't know the outcome of the situation right now. So we'll just leave that in the hands of the AFL and those investigating, and we'll get on to pressing matters. Before we jump into the preview, Dill, Proper Crows podcast almost got the first season under the belt. For those who are watching, give us a bit of an insight into what you guys do.
Well, we're pretty simple. There's three of us. There's me, Benny, and Dom. We've been good mates for a few years. Actually met at Adelaide Oval, up on the hill. So yeah, three pretty good mates that we just love our footy. Like, we get about it. We just talk about everything Crows. We love the AFLW as well, so we get around that. Get around that. We do a weekly preview review, same as you, Marns, and we just love getting content out about the club, and we've just happened to do it in a year where we finally come good. We've been through quite a little bit as you guys have over at North, and we've just come good a little bit quicker than what you guys have, and it's very exciting because. Oh, who knows what's going to happen this year? Who knows? Who knows? I'm trying to keep a lid on it, but I think the lid flew off on Saturday night. So,
I
no.
was going to say Adelaide Oval, it was the largest crowd ever recorded on Saturday night, your game, your incredible victory against the Pies. Really interesting that you just said like the comment that you made about both North and the Crows sort of being down the bottom of the ladder in this sort of rebuilding phase for quite some time now. In 2020, I think we finished 17th and 18th respectively. And I think a lot of North fans especially look at the two trajectories of each club and how we've sort of gone over the past 6 years. And one thing that I think is so important to note, there's a couple of things and a couple of big factors in my mind as to why the Adelaide rebuild has probably happened quicker and a lot more successfully than North's has up until this stage. But I think the biggest key for me is stability at the top. Now, Matty Nix has been in charge and has overseen the process from, woe to go. How do you find him as a coach, and what's it been like sort of trusting the process and almost having blind faith that he is the right person to lead you to the other side?
It's been very hard. I'm not gonna lie to you. It was hard. Like, I was very critical of him. Probably about this time last year, we lost to Richmond, and I was not very happy. I was like, nah, we're completely done. Like, we're gonna go back to where we were after the season that we had in 2023, and obviously we got got stuffed over there with that keys goal. We should have played finals football, right? And to sort of end up where we did last season was really disappointing. Just trying to back him in was hard. It was hard work, but he's repaid the faith a lot this year, and I just hope that you guys do get some sort of success at some point because it is so worth it. It's so worth sticking by, and we've started rebuilding in 2020. We had a really, really, really rough year, and 2021 had a few big wins like the Crows. We beat Melbourne. We beat Geelong that year. We beat the Gold Coast. Like, we had a few massive wins, and you sort of got a grasp from there that we're going to be okay. As you guys have, you've had a few great wins, a few huge wins. You had the draw against Brisbane as well, so you think it's going to get better, and it just drops. So
Yeah.
I get it. I get the feeling, but yeah, this year it's different, and I just yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot to take in. From 9 years ago, I was a 17-year-old kid when we last played. When we last played finals, I was 17. I'm now 25. I've seen the whole thing, but just keep the faith. It's gonna come. It's gonna come.
It's a good little motivational speech and some words of advice from a man who's really been through the trenches and has come out the other side. The end of 2025 for North will be the first time since 2017-18 that we've had the same head coach in charge for two consecutive seasons. Every season since then, we've had disruptions, be it, sackings, be it interim coaches, be it Clarko stepping away, of course, as well in 2023. So I think when I look at the Crows and then I look at comparison to North, particularly that one voice and that stability at the top, I think that's been a real key for the Crows. And then I think the other thing, and there's definitely a benefit there with the go home factor, but your ability to attract quality players from opposition clubs as well, be it those who want to come home or be it those who just are seeking out opportunity and a new start in South Australia. Don't get me wrong, some of the trades haven't worked out, and every club has experienced things like that as well. What have those players, particularly the ones that came during the off season of 2024, how have they contributed to you guys both from an on-field perspective and also an off-field perspective?
Yeah, I think that is something as well that I don't shy away from as well. Like Adelaide is such a for people that haven't been at Adelaide, I think obviously the listen base of this is going to be a lot Victoria base. Adelaide isn't what people make it out to be. It's a lovely town. It's so good. You're half an hour from everything, and the go home factor is it's huge. Like you've got to compete with what 10 other clubs over there. Like bigger clubs. You've got the Carltons, you've got the Collingwoods, you've got the Essendons, you've got the Geelongs. And I see us very much as a Geelong type place. Like we're out of anything. We're a big club. We're a massive club.
Yeah.
And it does help. It really helps. But in terms of the players we bring in this year, like Neil Bullen, I think has been the biggest one. Premiership player. He's 28. He knows what it takes, and off field, his role is massive. It's huge, and the club is so big on what he was going to bring in off field, which is what I think really excited me in the off season. They weren't about the type of player that he was; it's the person that he was, and that's what this club has really started to develop since Nixie took over. It's person first, player second, which I think speaks volumes about the culture that we've been able to build after everything that happened. That the infamous camp incident. We were in the trenches. We were in the trenches, and we've got to where we were to bring in a Peatling who was being chased by 10 other clubs. Isaac Cumming. He's from Broken Hill, but the Tex factor as well. It's just the club's building nicely. We've rebuilt from top to bottom in terms of head of footy. All of that sort of stuff we've rebuilt, and we've been able to create a culture that players do want to come. And it's good to see because it was a hard 9 years there.
Yeah, it's definitely I was actually at the 2017 grand final, and sort of the way that things have gone have been definitely tough at times, and you would have had your character challenged a few times as a supporter, I'm sure. So
Mhm.
it's nice to see you, yeah, being able to reap in the rewards of patience. And I do hope that as a North supporter, you said it before, that we can hopefully get on the right track and follow a similar trajectory. But at the moment, we couldn't be worlds apart, and we face each other this Saturday afternoon at Marvel. It's the first time since 2021 that we have played each other at Marvel Stadium. North hasn't beaten Adelaide since 2020. In the Gabba, I believe it was. At the
Yeah,
Gabba, it was Mad Jackdaw's return game. And I think that was probably a real, like, I don't know, maybe a turning point for both clubs, and kind of where each club has gone since then. We did play each other in round three over at Adelaide Oval. We've never won at Adelaide Oval. That record still stands. We were coming off our massive win against the D's the previous week. I think we came over with a lot of confidence. We did stick with the Crows for the first 2.5 quarters, but I feel like where the Crows were then and where the Crows are now are actually exactly the same, just about. You guys started the season with two huge wins. You were the informed team of the competition to start the season. You've definitely had a couple of games where you've probably let them go and maybe you wouldn't have thought so, but you've really hit your straps again in the past, I'd say probably 6 to 8 weeks. And you're
yeah,
now looking at the same sort of scenario, 20 weeks on. We're coming off a massive win against Richmond, albeit the opposition maybe isn't quite the same as when we played the D's. How are you feeling heading into this one? And do you feel any different to the way that you felt back in round three?
Back in round three, that was actually a very good game of football. That day at Adelaide Oval, it was
Was, yeah.
it was a beautiful day out there as well. The weather was great, which really helped a little bit. But the pressure that North sort of delivered on that day, that probably 2.5 quarters, was great. You just sort of felt like something was building after the big win that you guys had in round two against in Melbourne. Like, it was, maybe they are developing here, maybe something is happening, and then obviously you had that last quarter fall off, which you can expect from a young side.
Mm.
But yeah, look, I'm confident as you would be.
Yeah.
You're top of the table. You've come off a couple. We've come off a few big wins. Against Hawthorn, against Collingwood. We've matched it with the best, and we still need to win to secure a top spot. We lose, Geelong come over the top of us. But I think there might be a few players rested this week. And with the whole, as we touched on before, the whole ranking incident, I think it might be playing on the group a little bit. It's Tex's 299th game. I thought he was going to get rested this week, but we rested him against West Coast. It'll be different, but we do play Marvel quite well as well. Like, we had a big win against the Bulldogs over there, earlier in the year, probably about 7 weeks ago.
Yeah.
But look, it'll be different. I think if you guys are able to bring the pressure that you bring back in round three and sort of have a little bit more two-way running, I think it might be a little bit more even than what a few people expect. But if we get over the top of you in the midfield, I think it might be a rough day for you guys.
It's funny because what one win can do to a fan.
Mhm.
I actually reckon we're half a chance to win this. I think Adelaide would be coming into this licking their lips, and fair enough. I mean, we're sitting in 16th position, and um, our performance against Richmond was one of the only good performances we put in the second half of the season, or pretty much since we beat Carlton. Those performances have been few and far between over the past sort of 6 to 8 weeks. And I think the form guide coming into it up until the weekend that's just passed probably couldn't look any more different. We've probably looked our worst, and you guys have looked your best. But one
Mhm.
win, and very few players kind of didn't contribute to that win as well. I think most players played their role and had some sort of impact. The pressure that you speak of is really interesting. Our defensive blueprint, and I've spoken about this on the channel so many times this year, our defensive blueprint is shot. It's pretty ordinary. We were able to sort of out pressure and out muscle Richmond, and we probably were the dominant side of the day after quarter time. Didn't show on the scoreboard till after halftime. But we will regain Riley Hardiman. He returns. He missed last week due to concussion. We will lose Cam Zerha, unfortunately. So there is one change there, maybe two. It just depends on how they decide to shuffle the magnets. If they want to just move around the guys who will be on, who are in the side already, just make that one swap. Matt Whitlock, he's a forward. He's a key forward. He was sub last week, so potentially he starts and someone else sub is the sub, and then Riley comes in for the Crows. We said we don't know where Rankin will sit if he plays or doesn't play. You said maybe a few players rested. Who would you be looking at to keep behind in South Australia?
Look, I think there's a couple. I think who we had last week. I don't think Lockie Murphy will play again for the club. But I think there's been a kid knocking the door down at the Sandford at the moment. Billy Dowling. He's had 41 touches and 2 goals and 36 touches and 2 goals in the last 2 weeks. Knocking it down. He's a he's a bit of a big body mid, but he might play off half forward.
Yeah.
I think Rory Laird might miss again. He got suspended, but I think they might give him another week. He's 32 now. He's coming up. Might give him another week off. But besides that, we'll see. And then obviously Rankin. That's three changes, which is a pretty big. It's a pretty big change for someone that's sitting top, and you sort of want to be progressing into finals with the same core group. I think that's probably all that will be done.
Yeah.
But now watch out for Billy Dowling to come and play, because he's been knocking the door down lately in the Sandford, and he's played a couple games before.
Yeah.
I think he debuted 2 years ago. I think he debuted. He's played about 5 or 6 games, but he's a good young kid who will come through, and very excited to see him. But besides that, that's probably about it. So I'd say three changes.
Is there anyone, when you look at North Melbourne, and I know as a whole, maybe we're not such a threatening outfit, but are there any
Mhm.
players that you could identify as potentially a bit of a worry? Obviously, Harry Sheezel on the back of,
Harry Sheezel.
yeah, I mean, what can you even say? I mean, I actually don't even have the vocabulary to explain what that was on Sunday afternoon. But LDU, he had
Mhm,
40 touches and a goal as well. He looked just about unstoppable. Tristan Cherry looked back to his best, 17 tackles.
mhm.
So there's a few guys in there who pulled some massive numbers. Shees would be the obvious, but were there
Yep.
any others that maybe you had your eye on?
I think it's that core midfield group. I think like your Sheezels, your LDUs. It's what sort of worries me a little bit because we've been smashed in clearance all season.
Yeah.
We've been smashed in clearance. So if you're able to get on top of us there, and if you're able to get first supply, that's probably the one thing I'll be looking out on. Who's your biggest your tall forwards at the moment? Jack Darling
So Jack
and
Darling, my guy, and then we've had Cooper Trembath, who we picked up in the mid-season draft.
yep.
Made his debut against the Giants 2 weeks ago. He's kicked two bags of three, so he's been
Mhm.
unreal for us. Cam Zerha is a massive one for us.
Not playing, obviously.
He
Yeah.
won't be playing. Paul Curtis had 5 goals. His career best haul over the weekend against Richmond as well. And then potentially we see Matt Whitlock re-enter the conversation.
Yeah.
Like I mentioned, he was sub on the weekend and didn't really have much of an impact, unfortunately. He did come in this early in the second quarter when Bull went off, but you just never know if he can start and maybe he can get his hands on the footy early and
Mhm.
give us a nice option up forward as well.
Yeah, Paul. I am a big Paul Curtis fan. A few of the boys do give me a bit of slack for it, bit of flack because of me and Paul Curtis. We go way back. I've always loved him, and I always say my boy Paul Curtis, and the boys like, "What are you doing?" But I love him. I love him. He's so good to watch. He's so good to watch, and he's so efficient. Once the ball gets inside forward 50 for you guys, if it gets in his hands, it's normally hitting the scoreboard.
Yeah,
So, but look, I do have a lot of faith in our back six at the moment because they've been so dominant.
yeah,
The Mark Keanes, the Josh Worrells, but it'll be a good game. I think it'll be interesting. It's going to be a lot of fun. I think.
yeah,
Quite high scoring. I think it's going to be just sort of no nonsense up and down the ground all game. So, and I love the time slot 12:40 on a Saturday. I know a lot of people don't like it, but I love a good 12:40 time slot. It means I can wake up, have my lunch early, have a few beers, and then let the day flow on after that. So,
Look, I just like you. I just hope it's a good, entertaining game. I think for North this time last year, our last two games of the season were two massive losses. We lost by 96 points to the Dogs and to close out the season, 124-point loss to Hawthorn. We've come off the back of an 8 goal win now. I just hope that we can, if it's not going to be a win, and I genuinely think, and I know you think I'm insane, I genuinely think we're half a chance to just have a day out and win this one. But if we can at least stay competitive and put in a consistent 3.5 to 4 quarter performance and have some sort of replication of what we had in round three, at least we're finishing the season off on somewhat of a positive note. And I think that'll help us build into season 2026 for sure.
yeah, and I think West Coast set the blueprint up a little bit against us. A couple of weeks ago, everyone thought that we were going to go in and win by 20 goals,
Yeah.
but we won by 2 goals in the end. We were pretty dominant for the second half of the last quarter, but for 3.5 quarters there, they were all over us,
Yeah.
and that was just because the pressure that they sort of bring around the football. They had nothing to lose. You guys have got nothing to lose. We've got it all to lose,
Yeah.
really. At
Yeah.
the same time, if we drop this, and with everything that's been going on internally and sort of media based, we drop a game, ranks get suspended. It could be it. It could be huge. It's massive implication for us. Outside noise is such a big thing. People think that it doesn't matter to a football club, but it does.
Yeah.
If there's outside noise, there's yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm a bit worried if you guys you start to make me wonder now, Mans. Are you half a chance? Are you half a chance? And it's starting to make me nervous, and I don't like it.
I just want to clarify for anyone watching or listening, I'm the only person on the planet that can make dill say anything positive about North Melbourne, or
Mhm.
even admit that maybe he likes North. And he won't be liking North or being my friend this weekend, which is expected. But I'm the only one that can get into your head like this. So I'm glad it's working still a treat.
It's funny. I still remember when we were FaceTiming before the season, and I was sitting like, "Nut North are finishing 17th," and then I sat there and did a ladder predictor. But because you were in my ear, I had them finishing 13th. It,
Damn,
it
I
just
wish your ladder predictor with my interpretation had come more true than your initial thoughts.
Yeah, look, I'm sorry. I did tip in our very first podcast on over on Proper Crows. We did a few predictions, and I did have Nick Larkey to win the Coleman. But see, maybe you did get into my mind because I do love Big Sue. He is a weapon.
I know we love him too, and
Yeah.
unfortunately, a PCL injury sort of ruined the last sort of 6 to 8 weeks of his season. But no doubt he'll be back bigger and better than ever next season. Dill, give us your final tip for your final home and away game of the year.
Look, I'm gonna go Crows. I'll go by 7 goals. I'll be nice. I tipped us by a lot more. I tipped us by a lot more in our pod. I'm not going to tell you how much I tipped us by, but you've got my head a little bit. I'll go Crows by 7 goals, and I'd love to see another Sheasel 50.
I'll be nice. I'll tip the Crows by 42 points. Awesome. That's so generous of you. Thank you so much.
No worries, Mars. Anything for
Um,
you.
I'm gonna tip North. Why not? I don't ever tip against North, so that's why I don't do tipping professionally. But I'll back us in. I'm going to back us in. I'm going to back us in for the banana peel game and see if we can finish this season off on a high. Jack Darling legacy game.
How many goals does he need for Corn to do his lap around the thing? 13,
Oh,
14?
17.
We'll let it
17.
we'll let it slide. We can have a big plugger performance from him.
Yeah, why not? If you guys still win, but I get my 40 goals from JD, we'll call it even. Call it a
Yeah,
day.
that's fine. I can do that.
Dill, for anyone who wants to keep up with all the proper Crows action, especially as we head into September, where can the good people find you?
At Proper Crows Pod on everywhere. Facebook, Instagram, X, TikTok. We're everywhere. We get a lot of content out on game day before game. So, and we do talk a little bit about other clubs as well. Not much, but if you want to listen to a team that's going to be playing some finals footy, you know where to head.
After this weekend, I'll definitely jumping on the Crows bandwagon with you. So you're the only person that can bring this out of me. So there you go. We're even once again. Dill, thank you so much for joining me. Best of luck this weekend. Maybe not too much luck this weekend. I'll save that for September.
No worries. Thanks, Mars. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.